For nearly a decade, the Premier League was a dictatorship, a tactical tyranny ruled by one man and his sky blue machine. But every empire, no matter how absolute, eventually bleeds. And in the 2025 to 2026 season, the English football paradigm didn't just shift, it completely shattered. Arsenal ended a 22-year drought. A billion-dollar algorithmic project at Chelsea collapsed into a catastrophic joke, and a newly promoted Sunderland exposed the rot of the old elite. Welcome to the 90th Plus. Today we present the ultimate post-mortem of a season that rewrote the rules. The dawn of the new order. To understand Arsenal's championship, you must understand their psychological trauma. For years they lived in a perpetual state of terror. They would play beautiful, breathtaking football for 8 months, only to hear the inevitable footsteps of Pep Guardiola's Manchester City hunting them down in April. It was a mental chokehold. The media branded them fragile, inexperienced, bottlers. But Mikel Arteta didn't respond with emotion. He responded by building a cold-blooded surgical assassin. This 2025 to 2026 Arsenal team didn't just win, they strangled the league. They became the first team in Premier League history to finish a season with 0 red cards and 0 penalties conceded. William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes operated less like defenders and more like absolute apex predators. There was no shaking, no stuttering looking at the Etihad. Arsenal finally killed their monster. The strangest part of this revolution, Manchester City's reaction. When empires fall, there is usually fire, chaos, and bitterness. But Pep Guardiola's 10-year reign ended with an eerie, beautiful calmness. After a 1-2 loss to Aston Villa on the final day, the Etihad didn't cry. They stayed to sing. Guardiola, Bernardo Silva, and John Stones walked away with the peace of kings who had simply eaten their fill at the grand banquet. They won 6 titles in a decade. They broke every metric of human performance. But make no mistake, the calmness is a facade. What haunts Manchester City now is the terrifying void of tomorrow. How do you replace the man who invented modern football? While City braces for the unknown, their neighbors finally found themselves. Manchester United ended the season in 3rd place with 71 points, returning to the Champions League. And it wasn't done with loud press conferences or dramatic tactical revolutions. It was done by Michael Carrick, a manager who operated like a silent mechanic fixing a broken engine. The turning point wasn't a 5-0 thrashing, it was a gritty, ugly, injury-plagued victory against Chelsea in April. That was the day United proved they possessed something they lacked for years: resilience. And at the absolute center of this resurrected engine was Bruno Fernandes. We need to pause and respect what Bruno did this season. He shattered the all-time Premier League record with 21 assists, leaving Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne in the dust. He created almost 150 chances. But beyond the stats, Bruno is the emotional lightning rod of Old Trafford. He dragged a recovering giant through its darkest days, proving he is the defining playmaker of his generation. While United stabilized, the rest of the traditional hierarchy collapsed under the weight of their own arrogance. The most insane storyline of the season belongs to Sunderland. Expected to finish dead last, Régis Lebris's men defied human logic, beating Chelsea 2-1 on the final day to secure Europa League football. They didn't do it with endless cash, they did it with elite scouting, snatching Florent Gisolfi from Roma, reviving the brilliant Granit Xhaka, and building a fearless, high-octane project. This miracle exposed a terrifying paradox in English football. While Sunderland soared, Liverpool and Chelsea clubs that spent literal billions were drowning in a sea of algorithmic chaos. Liverpool spent €500 million post-Klopp, handing the keys to Arne Slot. The result? A disjointed, unbalanced team that relies heavily on an aging Mo Salah and random moments of individual brilliance. They made the top four, but the aura of fear is completely gone. But Chelsea is a catastrophic study in how not to run a football club. Todd, Boehly and Clearlake Capital treated human beings like trading cards on a spreadsheet. Despite Cole Palmer's isolated genius, the squad is a Frankenstein monster of overpriced assets with zero chemistry. Changing managers constantly, they finished in the bottom half. $1 billion disaster. And let's not forget West Ham, officially relegated after abysmal management, while Tottenham survived by just 2 points, paralysed by Daniel Levy's horrific strategic hesitation. This season was so saturated with individual brilliance that selecting one team of the season is a joke. The talent pool was so deep, we have to divide them into two distinct philosophies. Team A is the foundation, the systematic perfectionists. David Raya in goal, sweeping like an NFL quarterback, with 18 clean sheets. A defense anchored by the absolute brute force of Gabriel, paired with the gritty old-school survival instincts of Nathan Collins and James Tarkowski. In midfield, Declan Rice evolves into an all-seeing titan, while Bruno Guimaraes dictates from deep. Bruno Fernandes controls the chaos up top, feeding the inevitable 27-goal cyborg Erling Haaland alongside Watkins and Semenyo. But Team B is the freak show, a terrifying assembly of pace, raw power, and transition monsters. Mickey van de Ven sprinting down attackers like a runaway bullet train. A fully fit Reece James dominating the entire right flank. Throw in Brian Mbeumo, João Pedro, and Igor Thiago, and you have a knockout-style frontline ready to annihilate any high-pressing team in 4.5 seconds flat. The 2025 to 2026 Premier League season proved one definitive truth. The margin between eternal glory and catastrophic failure is razor thin. As the old guard crumbles and Arsenal establishes a new tyranny, the English top flight is entering an era of pure, unpredictable chaos. Who will adapt and who will be left behind? What is your biggest takeaway from this historic season? Drop your ultimate team of the year in the comments below. Smash that subscribe button for the 90th plus, and we will see you on the next pitch.